What is up, guys? We're live, and might be harder to see, but hey, we're here. I've got my lights and everything all discombobulated in the background, so bear with us with this stuff. Let's see, is the Twitch chat working? Yes, test, maybe, hopefully connected. Let's do one quick test. Let's see if it's working. Are you working? No, of course. Why would it work? That would only make sense, right? Regardless of what is going on with the chat, we're not concerned about that because it is another episode of Modern Magic Mondays, and this is a special one because it is the Season 11 Invitational. So we're going to be jumping into it, getting things started. We got 4 rounds tonight. We broadcast and record up one of the round of 8 matches. We just kind of randomized. Usually we set it so a new player that has made it to the top 8 will be on camera, but it is a whole set of 8 players that have all been in the top 8 before, so there was nobody new. So it was time to just kind of get into it, randomize who's on camera, and go from there. Both semifinals will be broadcasted up as well as the finals. So let's just kind of hop into round number 1. We'll talk about the players, talk about the decks, and get things going. So these are the 2 players that were able to get themselves into the top 8 and get themselves on camera here. Matt Harshman rocking out Dredge. TJ Schillenberg is also going to be on the Esper Death Shadow. Now, he has played previously in other seasons the Grixis list. He's played a lot of the blue-white control as well, but back mixing things up, kind of combining the 2 together into this sort of Esper list, if you will. We're going to be talking about some of the other players that are going to be battling it out that aren't on camera, though, because this is round 1 and it is the top 8, so it is very important to kind of get to know the players that you will be seeing on camera tonight. So then we'll dive in and talk a little bit about the decks that they are using themselves. But the players that we've got have showed their skills throughout the whole season. After all, this is a 10-week-long season. Now, the season is going to be extended in going forward here. It was 10 weeks, but now we're going to be capping the rounds at 4 rounds a night. It was previously capped at 5, and then things were still going super late, so they decided, you know what, let's cap it 4 rounds. We'll do, and then after that, we'll basically set it up that we'll extend the season 2 more weeks, so it'll be a 12-week long season. So the players that we do have, though, for those following along at home, Lyle again coming in at first place for this season with 101 points. So again, being that end boss, as we've talked about on the seasons before, he is also one of our 2-time champions. And we do have Jeremy Miller there, who was our Season 1 champion, coming back, trying to find his second victory here, and he's second place with 92 points. RJ, who is one of our returning players, since he made it back into the game, he has been in the top 8 consistently here, and he is sitting in third place with 89 points. TJ Schillenberg there, another one of our repeat champions there, and he is sitting with 88 points. So he's like, hey, you know what? I've proven myself time and time again, becoming a champion of the Invitational. I'm looking to get another victory under my belt here with 88 points coming in, doing pretty well. Leighton sitting with 86 points. This is, I believe, second or third time in the top 8 there. Might be a second, but he sadly had some real-life stuff going on and was not able to make it into the actual Invitational here. So somebody did get a bye this evening, so just be aware of that. But Leighton did make it in, so he is, of course, going to be acknowledged and at least get some store credit out of making it into the top 8, because it's a bit of a grind to make that happen. Matt Harshman there, of course, that we see on camera, had 78 points. Kyle Hadberg was sitting at 75, and then coming in at 8th place, we had Keenan with 72 points. So as it was set up, Kyle was able to get the bye round number 1. Keenan was playing against RJ. Then we had Jeremy was going to be playing against Lyle. And then, of course, we see here on camera, Matt is playing against TJ. So we've got Dredge going on here. Let's just kind of get things going. We're at 17. Oh, Stubborn Denial. Nice. Get that out of here. Already getting things going. 17 all. Getting things up and running. So going for the Dredge list, something that I don't think many people pin Matt on. Now, deck lists are available, so all the players that are playing tonight did get access to it. They knew what they were up against after they had selected their decks, so they could study them. So they got to sit there and be like, okay, cool, I understand the different lines now if I really want to go through it. They can't do any adjustments to their list post-submission there. Wow, look at these cycling here. Already going down to 13, so TJ kind of doing his best to establish, draw into something. He is running a Teferi in his list to kind of be a little bit more control-y. He's also running a Monastery Mentor in his list as well, so his list is a little bit different than one of the ones that I have been testing out, but if you have not seen the Esper list, the main reason to be running it is for that Ranger, the Captain of Eos there. You've also get access to Teferi by adding in white to your list. And then now that we're seeing he can add in Monastery Mentor in there as well. So it makes a lot of sense with how things have been going. It says, okay, I'll drop down to 10, and here's my Jace's Rim Prodigy. So now I've got something on the board. But with Matt's first turn play there, where he was like, all right, fetch, shock, cool, here's my Shrinkcorn. I'm basically going to be getting things going and dumping stuff in my graveyard. When your opponent's playing something like that and they have that red-green land out, you kind of know, all right, there's a good chance I'm playing against Dredge. It could be something that maybe some weird homebrew thing, but for the most part, it looks like Dredge. And then with this sort of reveal, Faithless Looting, here's 2 Dredge creatures, that's how it's going to be working out. Alright, there's the Jace Vryn's Prodigy going to be tapping, drawing a card, discarding a card. If there are 5 or more cards in the graveyard, he will be able to flip that guy. So at this point, TJ just sort of constructing his hand here, right? We see him now doing the opt, going through things, trying to figure out where he wants to go from here. But oh, so going to be minusing. So let's pull up Jace here. Oh, thank you, Bronze. I appreciate the follow there. Glad you're liking the stream tonight. So, here's Jace. He's going to be negging. Basically, he gets to be Snapcaster, right? He can copy an instant or sorcery, or copy it. He can cast it there. So we see him will be going for some Thoughtseize. His life total might be off. I might have missed the Thoughtseize earlier. Alright, lots of dredging going on again. More denials. Yep, just getting the cards ready to go, guys. All right. So this is a weird thing for Matt here. He's missed 2 land drops already. He's got a lot of stuff in his graveyard, right? This is working out with his Dredge stuff, but things are kind of off on how his game plan has gone. It's kind of hit a wall, if you will. But there's the Ranger coming out from TJ, kind of right on time that turn 3, allowing him to be able to find himself a Death Shadow. All right. Stinkweed Imp. We're going to get some dredging going. Alright, Dredge 5 off of that guy. And now we've got all the triggers going. Alright. Prized Amalgam is going to come back because the Narcomoebas were able to come back. Alright, so it's just this sort of synergy style of play here. Let's get a bunch of stuff into my graveyard that allows me to get stuff back onto the battlefield. There's the double Death Shadow, though. Jace can at least maybe decide to... Oh, okay. I could say he could start to mess with some of Matt's creatures, but he says, nope, card advantage here is going to be good. Oh... You're right. Bronze. Good eye there. He has a Watery Grave, an Island, and a Godless Shrine. So he doesn't have the double white for Ranger. Maybe that's why Ranger's not here anymore. No. I think Ranger just died. It's in the graveyard. So both players just maybe a little bit more hyper-focused on things and not paying as much attention. Like, they're so focused on their next couple of steps. So a little bit of misplay here. And actually, a big bit of misplay, if you will, by casting a spell without having the mana to cast it. So, that is a downside to us doing this post at this point. I do not watch any of the matches live because I don't want any spoilers of what's happening and want to be able to watch it with you guys and go over things. That happens to the best of us. You know, it's happened many times. But this is kind of the tough part here, right? So... we're going to conflagrate, and he's basically going to say, hey, I'm going to kill you. Alright, so he can... So for those that are not familiar with how conflagrate works, let's pop it up here. Or it's this one? Nope, one of these two. This one kind of works. Basically, you're going to deal X damage among any number of target permanents. You're going to pick one permanent. Hey, here's my double red to flash this back, and I'm discarding a bunch of cards, right? If you're at 8 or less than that, which is very likely from me missing a point here or there, then TJ's just dead. Alright? So that makes it really tough. You're just able to just say, oh, I've got all these cards that I've been filling my hand with, all these Dredge creatures. Now I can just discard them and kill you. So it makes it a challenge for TJ. Right, where he's trying to get to a low enough level to make his Death Shadows relevant, but if he gets too low, Conflagrate can just kill him. Okay, so TJ's in chat said, notice it later, could have fetched correctly, first time casting the spell, just kind of on autopilot, tunneled through it. Okay, alright, that makes sense. Thought it was only one white. That makes sense. And that's the thing, is like TJ was one of those players that was rocking out the Grixis Death Shadow for the longest time, and has opted for the top 8 to try out the new hotness, if you will, going for the Esper. I know there are some people that are trying out the Mardu style of play. I think, you know, I like that there are now other variants that you can go. When Death Shadow was rising up, there were kind of those two, if you will. Some people were running green, so they could be able to have Traverse, they could have Goyf, and there was those that were running Grixis, which is a little bit more control-y. So now we're going to be getting into sideboard plans here. So I'm going to run over and let you all know what our sideboard cards are. So let's do this for these players. Alright, we'll stick it here right in the middle so everybody can see what is going on with our sideboard stuff. Alright, so this is currently Matt's sideboard that he has access to. Ghost Quarter, Alpine Moons, Lightning Axes, Nature's Claim, Ancient Grudge, Assassin's Trophy, and Leyline of the Void. I like the Assassin's Trophies being able to come in. You know, you can kill off Planeswalkers with them. You can kill off lands if you wanted to. You can kill off creatures. Just like blanket removal can work out really well, especially if you know that your opponent is going to be able to kind of mess with you from two fronts. But here's some Planeswalkers, here's some creatures, things like that. If he's feeling worried, right, Lightning Axe is a good one as well, just to be able to kill off some creatures. You know, you have to discard a card. Sweet, I'll discard this Dredger, right? And then I can at least ding down one of your guys. You know, if my opponent casts a Gurmag Angler, okay, cool, I can get rid of that, right? So having access to those is pretty nice. So over here, I have to adjust our board because it's bigger. No. Let's grab TJ's. Lots of one-ofs, but that's kind of also the power of being able to run something like an Esper list, right? You do get access to lots of the cards in here. So some counter magic we see. Ceremonious Rejection, Flush of Storm, Stubborn Denial is thrown into the mix there. We've got Double Surgical for any graveyard shenanigans. Hey, guess what? You're playing against a graveyard deck. Can be relevant. Celestial Purge, being able to kill off some of the creatures. That's pretty nice. Collective Brutality, not so much in this matchup. You know, -2, okay, that's alright, but some of the creatures can still come back later. Disdainful Stroke for bigger stuff, not really relevant. Disenchant, not relevant. Hercules, not relevant. Rest in Peace is relevant, though. Then we've got, of course, the Planeswalkers down at the bottom, Liliana and Jace. But it looks like the players are getting ready, so let's hop on over. But again, it's like I need some stuff to help me deal with these sort of graveyard-based decks. All right, let's get things going already. TJ says, I'm going to go to 16. Watery Grave, Thoughtseize, let's see. We've got Conflagrate, Prized Amalgam, Faithless, Looting. Our two lands look like they might be fetchables, Cathartic Reunion, and then our Shrinkhorn there. I mean, Faithless Looting's pretty good. You know, Shrinkhorn's also really good. Like, those are the two enablers, right? So that's where you kind of have to go through things. So TJ giving us a nice line here. He says, removal on the play, discard on the draw. That's kind of the way to think about it. He thought he brought in Purge, Surgical, Rest in Peace, Stubborn, Push Path on the play, minus Thoughtseize on the draw. Okay, so doing some breakdowns there for us. Alright, so there's Matt. Going to drop down to 17, though. Alright, there's the Surgical. I like this. So he's basically saying, hey, I know that you can get a bunch of lands back from your Life and Loan and just fill your hand up and get me with another big Conflagrate. So if I can kind of narrow down your chances to be able to do that with this early Surgical, this can help me kind of develop a little bit longer into the game here. And he did get the information that there was an Assassin's Trophy as well, which is nice. Here's another Thoughtseize, though. Dropping to 12. Cathartic Reunion, again, enablers getting out of there. That was also the reveal, too, that there was a Creeping Chill in Matt's hand, which is never a spot that you want that to be. Like, you sit there and you go, oh, this card's so good, until it's in your hand, and then you're like, oh, this is just 4 mana, and it's, oop, wrong one. Is this the one I want? There we go, Creeping Chill. Alright, TJ in the tank, thinking about his next line here. We will see him kind of fetch. Actually, no. Playing it more conservative here. Matt's going to start firing off, getting the lands going, ready to start getting the Dredge engine online. He does have at least one prized amalgam in his graveyard. He already has a Conflagrate in his graveyard. Does have the double red, so he can be able to flash it back in the future if he needs to. But he really is hoping to start to get things going. And alright, TJ's going to drop to 9. Getting access to his Hollowed Fountain here. Snapcaster Surgical time. Going 2 more damage, dropping him to 7. Question is, do you get rid of something powerful that can kill you, which looks like he is going to go for there, which makes a lot of sense, since he died to that last time, and he'll go through and be like, okay, cool, there's nothing else, but I do get the confirmation about your numbers. So we do see, like, at least one of the axes was brought in here. Okay, so TJ giving us through the next line here and saying that, yeah, because I don't have any counter spells, I kind of have to go this route, which makes a lot of sense. Like, if you had your Stubborn Denials or things like that, you can kind of play a little bit loosey-goosey with some of your surgical stuff and hope for the best with how it's going to kind of play out. But not having access to counter, you kind of have to... Better sorry than dead, right, in this regard. So Matt also doesn't have any Dredge going on. Alright, no Life in the Loam, none of his Stinkweed Imps, nothing hanging out in his graveyard. Alright, how low is he going? Definitely 6. There's the 4. Alright, there's Ranger. TJ says, I do it again. That should be a Godless Shrine. So for those wondering, I'll pull up the card. Alright. So you can see everything. Okay, so cost 3, enters the battlefield. You can find a creature, cost 1 or less, add it to your hand, and then you can sack him, and your opponent can't cast non-creature spells this turn, which is, you know, pretty nice. Oh, okay, Collective Brutality was able to come in. Gets rid of the Assassin's Trophy there. Snapcaster coming in for some more damage. Yeah, I've been using those, what are they called? The new Horizon canopies that are the off colors, the black-white one, to help a little bit with some of that fixing. And, like, the double white is weird, and you really have to reevaluate how you are using your mana and your mana base. There you go, that one. That silent clearing there. Alright, here's some serum. We're going to start getting things going. But yeah, Matt's graveyard's starting to build up a bit. But again, still no major ways to get his engine going, right? Ooh, double Death Shadow pass. Here's a Dark Blast just to allow me to have a Dredge, is essentially what that is. Because if he can start getting the price amalgams and stuff like that online, you know, maybe he can get lucky and hit a runner on a Dredge there and be able to cast Creeping Chill or something. Dredge this. Dark Blast, you're dredging 3, which it's not a lot, but it's still a... okay, Stinkweed Imp. Let's get things going, but he says, doesn't matter, I'm at 4. I got 2 of these. You did. So TJ gonna tie it up. Alright, so TJ also going back over and saying that, you know, old school Ranger VOs only cost 1 white. So the captain, he was just like kind of tunneled. He is fetching with lands that would allow him to be able to get whichever land he needed. It's not a big deal in the regard of, hey, it's a new card, getting used to it kind of thing. It happens. You know, it's something that neither player are catching as well. Right? Both of them are just sort of going through it, just sort of tunneled in on their plan and what's happening. And, you know, again, players make mistakes, and a lot of Modern Magic Mondays is about learning the best and most optimal ways to be playing specific decks and specific matchups, and being able to sit here and watch and look back through it and go, oh my gosh, how did I make this mistake, right? It's learn from it, right? That's all it's about. While trolling in chat saying, mana symbols look the same in Japanese. Just saying. That is true. They do look the same. Now, TJ hopping back into that sideboard, doing another look through there. That was a big showing from sideboard cards there from TJ, though. Like, Surgical, awesome. MVP, did a lot of work in there. Like, stripping away the dredging stuff. He had a lot of that disruption in the early stages to get rid of some of those powerful draw effects that Matt was hoping to make use of. That was one of those hands that's like, hey, I'm a do-nothing hand. Alright? Here's 2 creatures that I won't cast forever and a bunch of lands. Yeah, this is not a hand I want. Remember, guys, this is the top 8 invitational. So that means these players are playing not only for the glory of being a champion, something that TJ has done many times now, something that Matt is hoping to get, still elusive, has not gotten himself a championship. Also, money. Yep, TJ, our 3-time champion, showing people what's what. This is how you play Magic, he says. Modern sucks. I'm not as disappointed in how the format is right now. The Hogak deck is still around. It's still a thing. I think it's like things are shifting and changing a lot, and the quick changes over these last, in particular, like 3-4 months has been interesting. The format has sped up so much, though. If we look at the last year or two, in particular, of how things have gone, just the meta shifts. I need to get around to getting back into those modern meta breakdown videos, because I did one for the last 2 years to kind of show what the decks were looking like in Modern, and I have not had a chance to do any for 2019, but there's some crazy stuff out there. Yeah, not for much longer we'll see Hogak after it's showing over the weekend, and again, still dominance. It's definitely something that is in need of some changing. Alright, things are getting going. So for those playing along at home, what we've got going on is this lovely artifact here that's allowing Matt to just sort of throw some cards into his graveyard every turn, kind of help him out. It does have 3 charge counters on it. When it enters, you can remove one and, just throw 2 cards into your graveyard there. So great way to be like, hey, guaranteed turn 1, I'm going to be either hitting this, I'm going to be hitting Faithless Looting, I'm going to be getting something going to allow me to get a Dredge creature into my graveyard. TJ is going to be shocking himself down to 13 here, and we'll be passing on over after that. Now it's back on over to Matt, just still waiting, not feeling like he wants to dump anything at this point, just kind of in this build-up stage here. Right? He's got, looks like, hoping for a second land drop is more of what we're seeing here. So Surgical's going to come around here. Not going to pay the life off of it. Just going to be hard casting it. Like the discussion going in chat. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, guys, and you're missing out on all the fun of the live stuff, I know not everyone can watch live, but that is a way to kind of catch up on what some of these players are thinking during their matches. Hey, we did it, guys! We got there. Casting it the correct way. It's happening. Let's go. Only made it on game 3. We got there. First legitimate casting. Let's kill this ranger, he says. I could have done this both times. That's the thing. It's like TJ has 3 championships. He knows how to play Magic. The one time that he plays a new card and a new deck in the top 8, everyone's just going to sit there and remember and be like, man, remember that TJ guy when he kept messing up the casting costs of this? Alright, here we go. Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam. Let's get things going, he says. Get some threats on the board. Push for some damage now. He's shocking himself down to 15 as well. It's like the right play. Cycle in Street Wraith. Oh, I guess I missed the 4 points of damage, so he's at 6, isn't he? And fetching. How low can you go? So at least going to 5. Gonna get that lovely basic island. Sack to draw a card. Street Wraith. Oh, Narc Amoeba. It's pretty nice. So you can at least block the prized amalgam. Or keep it back on blocks here. The thing about it too is the Esper list doesn't have the OTK aspect that the Grixis list. Because it does not have access to red, so it does not get Teamer Battle Rage. Yeah, OTK, one turn kill. Yep, that's it. You guys got it? Just that, like, okay, I can just burst you down. Here's my trampled double strike Death Shadow, right? You got that finish him off kind of thing. You don't have that way of doing it. You have to rely on getting the creatures out of the way and pushing kind of thing. So I think that's also just one of the things to notice, that if you're used to playing the Grixis list, you would have an extra out or two in regards to something like that. Alright, poking away. Here's this. Flying 1/1. Yep, and we're just going to block that guy. Problem is, he has nowhere to block those flyers right now. There's a lot of Dredge stuff sitting in that graveyard for more prized amalgams to come back. See, he's got a Snapcaster, but his choices in his graveyard are not that great. I mean, you can go for like a surgical or something here and try to get rid of prized amalgam. I could see why that would be the case. TJ's saying this game made me really miss Battle Rage, and that was something I was feeling too when I was testing mine out. Is that you don't have that fear to put in them anymore, right? There's those times where you could swing in with a Death Shadow, and people are just like, "Am I dead?" Right? Because they might block and stuff, but they're still asking that. Where this time it's just like, "Oh, I can just block all day. You cannot give your guy trample and double strike, so I'm fine. So having a kind of that red source sprinkled into the main, and then having Timur Battle Rage hidden in the sideboard kind of thing, I think that's a pretty cool little addition there. But oh, there's a Conflagrate now in the graveyard, guys. Hey, guess that's how this is gonna work, right? Fetching. Oh, wow. What a guy. I'm going to hard cast this. Wow. Hard cast Creeping Chill. Hey, I'm going to deal 3 to you, and I'm going to gain 3. I hope that's okay. So you can go to 1. I'll go back to 17. And then my flyers will finish you off, I guess. Oh, denial. He's gone. Alright. Doesn't matter. Can't stop that stubborn denial. Yeah, you should have a basic planes hidden in your list, I think, somewhere. And now he can freely cast that Stinkweed Imp. So if he had surgical that earlier, that would be one less thing he has to worry about. Other thing too, it's like he can't try to dump his hand into Conflagrate knowing that there are Stubborn Denials, because there's at least one in the graveyard, so if there is a Snapcaster, he can just shut that off, right? He can't just sit here and chip away forever without having any follow-up, so he has to be able to get something else onto the battlefield here. Alright, there's the imp. Let's just fly over top of the Death Shadow player there. Stinkweed Imp is just that sitting there as a 1-2 with Death Touch though, which is, pretty nice against that Death Shadow. Hey, I'd like to return some lands to my hand now. Hope that's okay if I just Life from the Loam. Life from the Loam. Well, that's it, guys. That is all she wrote. GJ went through and talked a lot in chat about that matchup, some of the lines that he could have done better, some of the things that happens, right? So it happens. I don't know why chat's not working. I'm trying to get it to work on this so everybody can read it, but it hates me. It doesn't like it. I don't know why. So, oh well, guys, we tried. But that is round number 1, or the quarterfinals, the round of 8, whatever it is. We're going to be hopping in. We've got 2 semifinals, so let's hop over and we'll talk about the other players that were able to win their matches and how things are going as we